You already know Maven's a YouTube powerhouse, but do you know the real story behind the growth? Maven has a tag team partner, and his name's Zach. Welcome to Video SEO Club.
Nice to meet you, man. I enjoy your work.
Thank you. No, you as well. Love watching your video, your channel reviews and stuff, and just be able to learn from you. So it's all good stuff.
Yeah, that's a little bit humbling coming from you that you're learning from me. I mean, I looked at your tap out corner. You've been at it for a while, man.
Yeah, and that's even because I think I uploaded my first video like in 2008 or 2009. So and then there's a ton of other channels I started. It wasn't just like, oh yeah, I just kind of started uploading and boom, it all happened. Like this has been something I've been working at for years and years, and just slowly but surely learning and trial and error. And like, okay, that doesn't work. Maybe this will work, and just a lot. So there's a lot of failures.
Yeah, absolutely, man. How'd you get started on YouTube? What sparked your interest on that?
The first one, the videos that really sparked my interest were people showing off like their video game collections. Because I was really into video games at the time, and it's like, oh, that's kind of cool. I never thought like collecting video games, like, for a 10, 11-year-old me, that was like mind blowing. And so I saw that I was like, hey, I should do that too. So finally, figured out, how to film and stuff. And that was kind of my first foray into YouTube and just video creation. Was every day that was like TV for me.
Was Tap Out Corner your first really big channel that took off? Because I see you're almost at 1 million subscribers on that channel.
Yeah. No, I'd say definitely. There was one I was doing with my brother a little bit before I started Tap Out. And that was only, I think, got to about 1,000 subscribers, but it was the one that like I'd say we really stuck to and had at least a little bit of an audience, like a regular audience. So, but Tap Out was really like the first major one, so.
And that was kind of not necessarily your first YouTube success, because obviously 1,000 subscribers, that still puts you ahead of so many people that start and stop channels. Were there any specific YouTubers that really inspired the way you created your content or built your channels?
Top of my head, I can't think of like any specific YouTubers. I was like, oh, I want to be just like them. But it was a lot of, but I know there was a lot of just, studying other people and seeing like, oh, like that's kind of how that seems like the right way to do it. And so, but even for example, the first video I did on Tap Out Corner, like I think went out in July of 2015. That was the first video on that channel. I did a history video on the wrestler Sin Cara, basically just a summary of that wrestler's career. I think I definitely got that from some like video game channels I watched where they would talk about like the history of a video game franchise and stuff. And so that's how kind of where I'd get the inspiration, like, hey, I should do that, but with wrestling, and that's honestly kind of a summary of a bit of my entire YouTube career is like, hey, I really like this idea that they're doing for, this thing that this person does for movies or video games or TV shows. I should just take that and apply it to wrestling or some other niche genre,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it sounds like you've been open to so many different creators that you can kind of pick and choose different things that you kind of see are effective on different channels. And that's a great strategy. The million-dollar question, though, is how did you get connected with Maven? How did that happen?
That's a good story. So I had the idea for a while because I was doing Tap Out Corner. That kind of became a little bit more, kind of started as like a part-time job, built it to a full-time job, and that started around July 2019. I had the channel up for a while, about 4 years at that point. I was kind of in between jobs, so I'm like, I had a few ideas for videos, and then channel kind of started picking up from there. So then slowly became, okay, I can use this as like a part-time job while I still look for something else. And then slowly but surely became more and more a full-time job. And I say that all to say that during that time, when it started becoming more of a job where it's like, okay, I can't just, do this whenever I want. I got to actually keep making videos. I'd always be brainstorming like what videos are going to probably do well, which ones are going to appeal to the most people. And then as I was thinking of videos, I was like, it always came to my head like, man, you should get like a former WWE wrestler to talk about this. Because like I've noticed with wrestling content on YouTube, the stuff that seems to do well is always behind the scenes stuff, kind of revealing, how does this work? What's this like? Again, just all under the umbrella of behind the scenes, pulling back the curtain. Those always seem to kind of be the videos that people find the most interesting. Maybe it's sharing cool backstage moments, unscripted moments when wrestlers break character, and I remember there's a few video ideas I'd have, but I remember one in particular, I was like working on a video, like which WWE weapons hurt the most, and I was like, man, this is like someone who's an actual WWE wrestler should do a video like this. Just, someone who's been, who has that experience of going through a table, getting hit by a chair. It was always in my head, but I was like, well, the hard part is how do you get connected with someone who has that experience, who has those credentials, and then I don't remember exactly what kind of sparked it. I'd always been kind of interested with Maven because I'd watched his stuff from Tough Enough when they put it on the WWE Network, and so I got interested in him. I always kind of intrigued by his career, even a decade after he had left WWE. So, and I always thought like it'd be kind of cool to work with Maven. He has not the longest career, but he still has a solid career. There's enough there to feel like you could make some stuff out with Tough Enough and being WWE proper. And Chris Van Vliet had done a interview with Maven, like I think in like 2021 or 2022 or something. I'd watch it because I'm like, oh, I want to hear what Maven's been up to. And so, but then it also told me in my head, like, okay, if he's doing interviews, he must be approachable. Like there must be a way of getting in touch with him. And he's obviously not trying to, stay away, get off the radar. So, and then it was like April 2023. I just had like that really big itch to like, oh, man, I would love to do this channel, find a former WWE wrestler, and just, take their knowledge and their experience, have them be the host, and I'll take care of filming and coming up with the ideas and all that. And so it was just biting at me really bad. So then I finally said, you know what, maybe I think would be good for this. He's like seems approachable. Stone Cold, The Undertaker. You're not gonna get in touch with those guys. So, but Maven, seems a little more realistic. So I was like, well, I really want to do this. So let me just try to like how do I even approach this? So I just decided like find a way to contact Maven. I found his LinkedIn. I thought, okay, that's a little more professional, seems a little more proper, as because I'm basically making a business proposal. So I was like, I'm gonna write up a quick, just brief message just to throw it out there. Chances are he's either A, not gonna respond, or B, he's gonna say thanks but no thanks. And then at least I can get that itch out, just saying, well, I tried. But I messaged him in April 2023 and not expecting to hear anything back. And then next day he responds back. He's like, yeah, definitely interested. So I'm like, sweet. So we set up a Zoom call. I kind of gave him a little more information about what was pitching, why I think it would work. And then in May 2023, I flew out to New Jersey where he's at. And then we filmed our first batch of videos from there. And I think we uploaded our first like mid-July of 2023. And ever since then, it's always been one video every Friday. And it's led to this.
How long did it take to hit 100,000? Wasn't it like 3 months or something like that? You hit 100,000 subscribers?
Yeah, I think so. We were looking back at the analytics not too long ago, and like I think our still to this day, our most the most subscribers we got in one day was like really early on, like I think in early August, because we uploaded the first video, which is the first Rating Rushes I worked with video. I think like around July 20th, roughly, somewhere in there, and then it got like maybe 10 views or something, and then did a video the next Friday. And then I think it was like that first weekend in August, I think after we'd been had gone live with the channel for about roughly 2 weeks, that's when I noticed that first video was starting to get a little more traction. And then I remember like going to bed and like it was like, oh, it's kind of starting to climb a little bit, and then woke up, it was like a Sunday morning, it was like I doubled in views. I'm like, oh, it's finally catching on, the algorithms picking it up. And so and that's still that when it first my first video first started picking up, that's like still our most we got most subscribers. I think it was like around 8,000 or something that we got in like one day. And so, but yeah, so then after that, like I think because I'm pretty sure I remember us going like I think it was like August later that month. That's when we got back together to film the next batch of videos. And I think we were around like 48,000 or something. Wow. But yeah, so I think it was like in the first like 3 months roughly. That's when we got to 100,000 subscribers. And so because I remember that that huge initial burst was like crazy.
Yeah, I seen it blow up, because I don't necessarily watch, just from my own experience, I don't watch a ton of new wrestling, but I do watch all these old podcasts that are on YouTube. I seen Maven coming out of nowhere, and everyone knows Maven. Even like it seems you're kind of younger, Zach, but even you saw the reruns of Maven on Tough Enough 1. And that's something everyone's always remembered Maven because he was the first guy. And to see him doing content, especially content like commentary on current wrestling, I think you guys have a great formula over there. And the authenticity is what I think really helped you guys so much,
I do remember when I was pitching the ideas, like, hey, we should do a video talking about how much money you made and the day you got fired from WWE. And like, I was like, I'll just pitch it to him. I think I got the vibe from Maven that he was pretty open from my first chat with him, but it was in the back of my head, like he might be like, nah, man, I can't talk about how much money I made. And, I'm not huge on talking about how I got fired from WWE, but no, he's just like, cool, yeah, let's do it. And I was like, it's perfect. So that's again, one of the like, not so much really the algorithm side, but that's just more the content side. I feel like is one of the things that helps make the channel work is just how open Maven is, about his career, again, like sharing how much money he made in his career, how, and then also, what led to him getting fired, and so, and you see that in the comments, get comments about that, that's one of the things that people enjoy is just, the openness of how Maven talks. And so I feel like that's just one of those, not so much like, again, it's not like, the title, it doesn't, that's a title or thumbnail, all that stuff's really important, but that's kind of that sort of secret sauce, for lack of a better term, is just that authenticity. Because I mean, we could do the same videos and everything, but maybe be a little more close off. I'm not going to reveal this. I'm going to maybe tweak the story a little bit, or I'm going to not share this fact, and like, even if you didn't know, the whole side of it, you could kind of tell that, well, it seems like he's holding something back. He's not being 100% honest about this. But I think even without knowing the story, just hearing it presented from Maven's side, you can tell that he's being open, he's being honest about what happened during his WWE career.
One thing I was so surprised when I did my little review about the Maven channel, because I had done some reviews on this channel, obviously, but they were kind of negative, and I wanted to do something that was positive. And when I actually looked at the analytics on your guys' channel and seen how well you were doing, how quickly you were doing so well, it's like, wow, I really need to cover this. And then to see Maven in the comments, I'm like, wow, he actually watched this. He has this huge channel. You guys have all this success, and he's in the comments on his channel, your guys' channel. And to see him jump on mine, I was like, wow, that's crazy. But that, I think, lends itself to the success you guys continue to experience.
Absolutely. And I remember when it popped up, I was like, yes, someone's talking about us. 'Cause like I watch a lot of like podcasts and people talking about, like just how the economy of YouTube, the whole, that's the word I'm looking for. Just like, yeah, the content creation side, the whole business isn't quite the right word, but videos about like, hey, how do you make better videos, how to make better thumbnails, and just, discussing the trends in the creator economy. And so, and obviously, people sometimes break down like, hey, this new channel just popped up. What are they doing right? And I love hearing about that. And so finally, and but obviously the tap out core that never, never really happened. So seeing like a video from you, talking about our channel and sharing, what we're doing right, and where we can improve, was just like, that was like, it was just cool, because I'm like, acknowledgement,
Yeah, absolutely. You guys are doing great. I had some other questions about creation in general, because there's a lot of people that watch this channel, a lot of people on YouTube in general that would like to make YouTube their full-time job, or at least digital marketing a full-time job. Would you say that that's your full-time job at this point in your life?
Yeah, absolutely. Just making content for YouTube is, but it was probably been for like past 3 years roughly. There was again, I'm kind of talking about earlier, but there was a time where, it was a part-time job, and then just slowly but surely it kind of, okay, I don't need to do this anymore. I can spend more time on YouTube. And so, but yeah, for me, YouTube is 100% a full-time job now.
If you could give any advice to people that are starting a YouTube channel today and they want to get to where you're at and make it their full-time job, what would you say are some of the things they should focus on early on that might deter most people from actually growing?
People sometimes they make content for themselves and not necessarily for the audience, and if you're doing it as a hobby, that's great, go for it, but if you are looking at like, I want to make this a career, I want to make this my full-time job, you gotta think, well, this is what I want to do, but is this what the viewers want to watch, and so it's not like, I don't, and like, that sounds like, oh, so I gotta just make videos I hate, and that's the only way to make a career out of it. And I don't necessarily think that's the case. I think what the way to go about that is take something that like, hey, really want to talk about this thing, or I really want to do an interview with this person, and incorporate like what you want to do, what's going to push you to do this interview, create this video, write the script, whatever it is. But then also figure out a way to present it in such a way that, anyone can find this interesting, that my audience can find this interesting, not just me. Because I have seen people who did interviews, and like the interviews were okay, but I could tell like it was a little more, they were asking questions they were interested in, and maybe not so much, from the viewer side. And I see it with podcasts too, where people get a little buddy, and like, that's great. I'm glad you guys are having fun. But as the viewer, I'm kind of lost. They're talking about some more inside stuff, and stuff that I'm not really privy to as the viewer. So, it's like, that's great. I'm not saying that you shouldn't have fun, and should just be, you should only do what people want, that the viewers are going to enjoy, but figuring out a way to present it in a way that the audience can also be a part of it and find interest in whatever you're talking about or what you're making content about. And it's a little tricky, but again, I feel like it's also part of the broader thing where I feel like any topic, anything can go, quote unquote viral. It's just all about how you present it. And I think you can take that same mindset to hey, this is the thing that I really want to talk about, or this is a video I really want to make. Okay, let me figure out a way to make it broad appealing that I like it, but also some random person who has no idea, about this thing or has no idea who I am can also find it entertaining or interesting.
So what would you say is the hardest part of running a channel like Maven's, but even more so Tap Out Corner? You have these huge channels, you're running them simultaneously. What does it look like for you? What's the hardest part of the day-to-day of being a professional YouTuber?
Probably time and energy. Those are the two. Everyone always, I know, talks about time, no matter what, you always have 24 hours in a day. But the other one I don't feel like gets talked about as much is just energy. You're spending time writing a script, doing a voiceover. It just takes, it's not like, physically demanding work, but, mentally draining trying to write a script that's going to be like, how can I make the script the best script it can be in the most, engaging video that's going to keep people from start to finish, and just even doing the voiceovers too is always is a bit of a bit just takes energy out of me, getting, making sure I'm pronouncing things right and having the right inflections. But so those I'd say probably are the hardest, just with I guess the time as always, but then just, because then I might get done writing a script and then, I'm like, I also got to respond to this email. I got to check in on the video for Maven's channel. I got to make sure the thumbnail's getting done. So just managing that all is like, I'd say probably the toughest part. And usually for me, the solution has been just breaking stuff down, into, okay, what needs to get done now? Like that's one thing with having the upload schedule for Maven that does help, is that it does make it clear, like, hey, getting this thumbnail done is kind of a priority because the video is going live this Friday. So having that solid, that hard date of the video is going to go live this date just helps just put, in perspective. Okay, this needs to get done now. This other thing can wait. So that's kind of how, for me, I've dealt with that, time and energy. And then also too, just, outsourcing stuff, luckily I've grown to a point where I can bring people on to, hey, can you edit this video for me? Hey, can you design the thumbnail for me? Hey, could you research this topic so I can make a Tap Out Corner script about this? And so those have been kind of my ways of dealing with that whole issue of only so much time and only so much energy.
Yeah, I completely empathize, understand. I can relate to that. Outside of the ad revenue split on YouTube, what are some ways that you've found to monetize your channel outside of the YouTube partnership? How have you been able to generate income from your YouTube channel?
That's a good one because I'm still working on that. But for especially more so with the Maven channel, just because his channel is more personality based. I do it with Tap Out as well, but for the Maven channel, outside of the YouTube partner program, third-party sponsorships, like we, at the time of this recording, we just did one with Magic Spoon. And that's the one thing that's been great about Maven's channel. Tap Out Corner, like I said, I did some third-party sponsorships with, but it's not, I'm the voice of it, but it's also, you're not really necessarily listening to hear what Zach thinks about this or, whatnot. I'm just more the narrator for the video. So it's, you can do third-party sponsorships, but it fits a lot better with Maven just because it's personality based. The videos kind of feel like you're just hanging out with a bud who's telling you some stories from, his crazy career and being a WWE wrestler. So, but those third-party sponsorships have been the main way of, broadening that because, that's kind of a flaw. One thing I got to get better with YouTube wise is, the YouTube partner program is great. It's a great way. It's a great stepping stone. Nice building block, a great foundation for turning, YouTube into a career because it's easy. All you have to do is meet the requirements and, don't get your videos demonetized and you can start making money. And so, but then with that, if videos do get demonetized or, views go down, then you're in trouble, and so that's still one that I'm still developing. But I know with the Maven's channel, one that we're looking forward to, or we want to try to do, is actually do YouTube memberships, which is kind of the same thing as Patreon if you're familiar with that. And so and where we're gonna hopefully put up exclusive content, some videos that are appealing to like the more hardcore people who watch the channel more religiously, but maybe don't have that broad appeal, because we've had a lot of video ideas for like, this is a great idea, but we know that's only going to appeal to so many people just because the topic isn't broad enough. But I know that there still is an audience for this, so this would be something great for members or patrons or whatever. So that's another avenue that we're looking to develop, with the Maven channel.
Yeah, that sounds great. And I kind of just had an idea sitting here talking to you about the tap out corner. Why don't you just offer some fan sponsorships where the fan gets a kind of shout out in the video or something? Not necessarily them being shouted out by you, the narrator, but they send you a video where they can kind of intro the idea at some point, and you put that at a premium and you say this is a fan sponsored video. You just cut to it. It's a 30-second thing. It's almost like a reverse cameo. Just something I thought of. I see a lot of independent wrestling companies now out here in Arizona having sponsorships for wrestlers, and I think it's $100 to do. Just an idea, just something I was kind of thinking
Awesome.
of. Yeah.
I never thought about that, but now you got me thinking. Thank you.
Yeah. But we're about out of time here, though, Zach. But I really appreciate you connecting with me and allowing me to interview you, allowing me to pick your brain about the Maven channel. Not only that, Tap Out Corner, and you really inspire a lot of people coming out, kind of sharing some of your secrets, so to speak, or at least what people perceive to be secrets to being a full-time YouTuber. So thank you so much for taking time out to do that with me.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on. I love talking about YouTube. This is my passion. So, anytime you want to chat, just hit me up.
All right. Sounds good, man. Have a good rest of your day, Zach.
You as well, Kirk. Take care. Thank you again.
Look, I really appreciate Zach kind of pulling back the curtain a little bit on Tap Out Corner, on Maven's channel, sharing some of his expertise and letting us know how he was able to become a full-time YouTuber. Now, if you'd like to learn more about Maven's channel, you can check out this video right here where I did a full review of his channel right when it was really experiencing exponential growth. If you'd like to connect with other YouTube creators like Zach and myself, go ahead and click this link over here. You can join the free Facebook group, and we pop in from time to time. You can drop questions whenever you have them. You could also do that below on this video. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you next time on Video SEO Club.